Okay, I guess I'm live. This is my first time doing this, so forgive me if I do it wrong. My name is Shiloh Silvanar, and I am in studio. It's the end of the day. We closed a little while ago. Actually, we closed a little early today, but I'm still here, and I wanted to do a thing where I got better at this whole online sharing, social media, and just YouTube and all of that stuff. So again, I'm a beginner, so be kind if you want to tell me what I'm doing wrong. That's fine. Just be nice about it, because I'm definitely an introvert, and this is an experiment for me. So that's what this is all about. So yeah, what I'm trying to accomplish here is I'd like to open up about the life of an artist, I guess. This is something that I wish I knew more about before I got into being a full-time artist, and I thought, it might be worth sharing this process with you if it's something that you're looking for inspiration, or if you're curious about what it is to be an artist. I thought sharing my experience might be a way to, help somebody else out, and maybe just build a little community of artists and collectors and people of like minds. So here I am. And again, if you didn't hear me before, my name is Shiloh Silvanar, and I'm an artist in Lexington, Kentucky. I left architecture in 2022 to pursue art, and I've been working my way up ever since then. And I'm in a studio here downtown in Lexington, Kentucky called The Artist's Attic. We are on the 4th floor of the Square, across from Victorian Square, also across from Rep Arena. So if you're in the area, it's quite the little treasure trove of an experience, because there's 20 resident artists up here. We have 20 associates, so there's 40 artists worth of work up here. We also have other artists come in for exhibits and things like that. So it's definitely worth a visit if you're in the area. We're always open on Fridays and Saturdays, usually from noon to 5. Sometimes we close a little early if there's not a real reason to stay open. Today we pretty much stayed the full time, but people trickle off, and it's cold and wet today. So, but if you see the sign out there, we're open. Sometimes we open on other days too. It's a great community. I love it here. Everybody's very supportive, and it's been really good for my growth. So I highly recommend visiting the Artist's Attic if you get a chance. Just to kind of give a recap on the week. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving yesterday. I got to visit with my brother, and we had a small Thanksgiving, but that's fine with me because I am an introvert. So sometimes it's good to have smaller situations. I'm still healing from a broken arm. I had a little mishap with the floor on Halloween. Somebody was very confused and was trying to come in our apartment window, thinking that we were somebody else's apartment. And I got up very quickly and then fell very quickly. So nothing else bad really happened, but I did get a little bit of a fracture. So I've been recovering from that. And so I haven't been doing a whole lot of art this week, but we did have some pretty exciting stuff go on this week. We had a gallery hop last weekend, and we had lots of really fun visitors come in and have conversations about all kinds of things. I had one gentleman tell me all about a cat that he had that just visited him all the time, and got a piece of work from our personalities collection. And I just always love these stories that people tell me and how they associate with the work. So gallery hops a joy for me because I get to talk to people about art. And it's one of the few situations where my introversion kind of goes away a little bit, and I can be a little more extroverted, and it doesn't wear me out quite as much. So I'm happy to have something like that. That only happens every other month, so it's going to be another 2 months until we have that again. So looking forward to that. And then along with this gallery hop, we had an exhibit from SCAPA, the local school here for very talented kids, and they have some of their work up here, and they're phenomenal. So if, again, you're in the area and you like to support local artists and burgeoning artists, then that might be something to come and see. We'll have that up for another, I think, week here at the Attic. So some things that I want to cover. I'm only going to be on here for like 30 minutes or so. I wanted to try to do this with themes to make it more interesting for you and for me. So this month's theme is what I wish I knew before becoming a full-time artist. And that's for the whole month. And this week I'm talking or focusing on the reality of wearing all the hats, because I do wear a lot of hats as an artist, and I think any other artist would tell you it's a hard job. You don't think about that before going in, or maybe you do, but it definitely is something that you probably underestimate. So wearing all the hats is tough, and I think that's true for all small businesses. Art is just one of those ones that's like I think it's just a little more niche of a market, I guess. There are difficulties there, but I want to focus on telling you my experience and going over some of that. And then I'm going to answer some questions about juggling roles within that theme. I didn't have time to ask you for questions this time around, since this is my first live talk about this. So I used the robot, that's what I call AI, to generate some questions that might go with this theme. And then next week, hoping to get some posts out there that'll ask for good questions for next week's theme, which it would be process and tools that matter. So like along those lines, if you have questions of like processes and tools that work for my kind of art, I can totally talk about that. And I'm happy to answer those questions. So yeah, let's get to it. I'm just going to go ahead and jump into some Q&A. So the first question that the robot asked me was, how do you organize your time when you're doing everything yourself? And I'm still figuring that out, if I'm being completely honest. I've tried lists and calendars and planners, AI tools, and I think a part of my problem is that I'm trying too many things, and I just need to stick to one for a little while. But right now, the best approach is just diving in, creating, posting, adjusting as I go. I think for me, just doing it is going to be the thing that tells me what's going to work for me. As long as I keep moving forward, I think that that's fine. So what's the hardest part of running your art business? And I wanted to say that art and business are two very different things. Making art is very personal, but selling it is very transactional. And bridging that gap, deciding what to make, how to price it, how to promote it is the hardest part. Art is very different from business. I think that bridging that gap has been the hardest part for me, and trying to figure out how to make what I love and still do things that people want to buy, because it is a business at the end of the day. And I'll let you know how that goes. How do you track your income and expenses? Or do you track your income and expenses, and how? So I keep it super simple. I use Square, and yeah, all of that, everything goes through that. All of my sales go through Square, and all of my purchases go through a Square card that goes into my Square bank account. So everything is on the same thing. I'm super lazy, so I do reports from there, and that's how I keep track of everything. And I'm sure that there are better answers than that. So don't take my word for it. But if you're lazy like me, that might be a place to start. How do you decide which projects to focus on each week? So I tend to focus on things that I'm doing for others first. So if I have any commissions, that's going to be what I work on first. I'm not great at multitasking, but sometimes I will. I'll do the thing that needs to be done like that first. And while it's drying, I'll pick up on something else. So then it'll be, I have a series that I'm working on. I tend to work in series. So I'm working on Winter's Gift right now for next year. And to do that, I'm not just doing big pieces off the bat. I'm doing smaller pieces to test out ideas and techniques and materials and all of that. So it's a process. And so I'll usually try to find my next image, do some editing on that while something's drying, check on that, go back to that when it needs updating or whatever, and then kind of go back and forth between things. So if that makes any sense. But to decide on which projects to focus on each week, I think commissions first, and then larger projects next. And then if I just, if I'm feeling stuck or bored, because I am an artist and sometimes you get bored with doing the same thing, then I'll work on something else or try a new thing. So that's me. Everybody's a little different. That's how I work. So next question is, do you ever feel like there's too much to do in a day? Always. And never, and at the same time, it's like, a lot of times I'll be sitting here like, oh, what do I do? Just because I get kind of mental fatigue. So I've got lots and lots of lists and things like that. There's always more to do. That's true in pretty much any creative field. It was always true in architecture. It was one of the things that I remember, like, you just at a point, that's why, you had like sets of time for each part of a project. You get through that, and then that's enough of that. You got to move on to the next thing. So I think that you have to find a place like in your mind or heart with your creative process to be okay with it being enough, because you can always do more and you can always touch it. And then a lot of times when you touch it after you've like made a thing, it ruins it and you have to start over. Don't do that. Just find that moment where you're like, that's enough. And then move on, because you do have a lot to do. I try to also focus on 3 meaningful tasks outside of my creative process. So like, make sure to get any emails done that I need to get done, and I'll batch those. And like, I'll try to go through all of my emails and get those all done at once. Posting, I'll try to batch those and put a few posts up at once, and then creating. So yeah, prioritize, and know when enough is enough. Next question, how do you balance making art versus promoting art? And the cue card says that I've already written, I batch content while I work, record clips, and then use them later. Planning themes and scripting posts help me stay focused on creating while keeping promotion consistent. So that's the goal. That hasn't been what I've been doing. So that's what I hope to do. I do batch content and I do record clips while I'm making, and I have tons and tons of video that I'm trying to use and like go through and learn how to edit those and put those out in the world. So yeah, I think it's important for me to be like honest about my process. So if I'm just recording while I'm doing things, that makes it real easy. because I can just show you what I'm doing and have a conversation about what I'm thinking. And yeah. So next question. What's one admin task you hate but can't skip? Taxes. Definitely. Well, taxes and small business stuff. Like, I get very intimidated by it. I just want to make sure to stay on top of everything and do everything right. And I find it difficult to follow all of the changes every year, and it's a lot. And when you're a beginning artist trying to make a living at this, you can't afford a CPA. And so, doing a lot of research online, spending a lot of time trying to research it. That's just one admin task I would like to skip if I could, but I can't yet. One day. Next question. Have you ever burned out? How did you recover? Yes, I have burned out in multiple ways. And now I prioritize mental health and self-care. I walk a lot. I love being out in nature. Most of my work is like inspired by nature. I do take short breaks and reset periodically, especially if I get really super hyper focused on something. I want to make sure that I'm not doing too much. And I like to drink tea. I like to read. So those are like all self-care things. And then I come back to creating. And when I'm burnt out, sometimes it's best just to create without a goal. Like I'll do, I love Zentangles. Those are fun. Sketching in a sketchbook. I love working with graphite. It's not my medium that I do for art, but I love working with pencil and charcoal. And sometimes I will just do that for my own self. I don't make those to sell. I just do those for myself. But it's nice to not have that, because I know that they're not for anybody else and that they are for me. I can be free to do whatever I want, and they can be flawed and messy, and that's okay. I can be free to do that. Or I'll do something else fun. I have card decks for creativity and things like that. So those are ways to kind of break out of being burned out. Do you use any tools or apps to keep your business on track? So the quick answer, I mentioned Square already. I use Google Drive a whole lot. I use Adobe Express for like posts and things like that. And of course, Adobe everything for like I use the suite, but I use Photoshop for a lot of my digital paintings and Lightroom and that kind of stuff. But for my business, Adobe Express is what I use for like making posts and stuff. And I am testing out Notion. It was recommended to me by some other artists that I follow, and I wanted to give it a shot. Mine's a mess right now, so I wouldn't dare show it to you because you wouldn't learn anything from it. But I do recommend giving it a shot. It has like a lot of features where you can partner things together, like different ideas together, and I like that. What's one thing you wish you knew before going full-time? So this could be taken a lot of ways, but it just as far as art goes and the whole self-doubt thing, I wish I knew that there was no real right way to do art, because I think I spent a little too much time trying to define what art is. And there's really no right way to do it. I think everyone's path is different. There's definitely an academic path, and there are a lot more guidelines along that path. I think for me that being online is better for my type of work, but I don't know. I could be wrong. And because I did do this later in life and didn't go the academic route, it might have been different if I had started earlier. But I think, I wish I could have known more about like selling online, and building a direct audience instead of trying to go the academic route without the academic background to support that. So yeah, I think that covers, it's 6:20, so I only have 10 more minutes to talk to you guys. So let's do some updates. So this is all really awkward for me. I apologize. I'm learning and getting more comfortable with the camera. So that's where I'm at. So 1 to 2 small things that I tried this week. So while I'm still healing from my broken arm, another story for another time. I think I kind of mentioned that. I've been doing a lot of things on the computer to plan and make my business better. This is one of those things. And another one of them is trying out Notion. I'm not going to show you my Notion. It's a mess, but I will say, try it out. It was recommended to me by, and not me personally, it's just artists that I follow. Kelsey Rodriguez and Brooke Cormier both use Notion, and I thought, they make it look really useful. So I thought I'd give it a try. I think it's a little confusing at first. There's a lot to it. It's really robust, and there's a lot to it. So spend some time in it. I think everyone's going to use it differently because it has so many ways that you can use it, and you can build it to your own specifications. It's like totally for you. So I recommend before buying it, just trying, or before buying any of the templates or anything like that, trying it out and playing with it, just to get used to it, and then look at the templates and see if those are things that would be helpful to you. Another thing I did this week to find inspiration and some clarity was invest in a guide Tested by Tay on Instagram. She's super impressive to me, and she had a guide for what she does on her accounts that I'm trying to kind of mix and match to apply to my art business. And this is me being transparent right now. I'm adding in things like affiliate marketing, and what that means is that sometimes when I post links to products that I'm using, if you buy using that link, I might get a little piece of that. And it's a win-win because it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does help me out a little bit. So that's one of the things that I got her guide for, and I've been going through that. And it was influential in me thinking about, doing more this live feed and more instructive videos, because I do get a lot of questions from people about what I do and how I do it, especially from photographers, because I think we're all seeking a little bit of something different. And I've been exploring this stuff pretty randomly and freely. And I think that some of my discoveries are really cool and a lot of fun. And I think that other artists and photographers would really enjoy doing it. So I want to put some things out there for you guys if you're interested in that. And so that's also something that I've, learned from her. Like, she had some guides and things like that. And so, yeah, that seems like something people want these days, and with so many people asking for it. So I figured that I might be putting some things like that together. So look forward to that. And then today I finally got to work a little bit with my arm, and I did finally get to paste down this piece that I've been working on for a while. It's a photograph of the mouth of a cave, and I call it Emerging Resilience, and it's part of my Myths at McConnell Springs, or not Myths at McConnell Springs, my Winter's Gift series, apologies, which is all about the journey of life being the gift and not the destination. Emerging Resilience is all about emerging from the cave after self-reflection and exploration. So yeah, I had that printed out, and I'm experimenting with augmenting that with silver flecks. I have these metallic flecks that I've put on the image, and then I painted it with some silver, and then I prepped the background with silver so that it was more reflective. So I'm really hoping that some of that silver comes through, because I did some like lots and lots of prep work for it. And today I finally got to paste that down, and it is over here drying with a bunch of bottles and things weighing it down. So hopefully that's nice and flat come tomorrow or the next day. And this week I'll be able to do a video of the peel process. So that leads me into talking a little bit about some of my goals for making the guides and the videos and things like that, to help those of you out that have been asking for it. I don't want to charge a whole lot for it, but I do want to try to make a little something from sharing my experiments with you guys. So I hope you don't mind. As far as goals for next week, creatively, I plan to do the peel for emerging resilience and work on finishing that. Pick images for my next large image for the Winter's Gift series. And I'd like to do some smaller tests of light painting portraits that I did recently at a demonstration in Louisville, and see if those transfer well, because I think that would be a really fun way to use this, is with those light paintings, because those are just so cool looking. And I think they might benefit from this process. And then I might also try transferring one of my digital cat paintings. I am a cat person, if you don't know this about me already. And I tend to hide cats in a lot of my images, if you didn't know that already. I don't think I actually have that on my website. So most of my stuff has either both of my cats hidden in it or a cat painted into it, except for the Floral Fae series that does not have any cats in it. But we did a fundraiser event last year called Personalities, where we did augmented reality cat portraits, pairing digital artists with traditional artists to make augmented reality overlays for these portraits of adoptable cats. That was a huge success. Well, huge in my book. People came and they liked it. So that to me is a huge success. And it was my first grant project. And for that, I also did a bunch of digital paintings using a piece of software called Rebel. It's a paint emulator. It does a much better job of painting digitally than Photoshop does, and I love it. It's so much fun, especially since I can't use a lot of the solvents and things like that. I have severe migraines from smells and things. So for me, digital painting like that is really a lot of fun, and I can be abstract with it, and you can be a lot freer when your paint doesn't cost anything. But I do want to try to bring those into the physical world, and that's kind of this whole idea of imagination meets reality. That's kind of my overarching theme for everything. I've been a digital creator for so long, making digital representations of things that later became reality, and that's just kind of how I work. I think about seeing reality and having imagination overlaid on top of that, and the combination of nature and technology, and those are all themes that interest me. So yeah, putting a digital image on a physical piece, that process, just there's something interesting about that concept to me, but I don't have that nailed down or anything like that. It's just up here. That's fun. So yeah, that's my creative goals for next week. And on the business side, I hope to get some gift certificates designed and printed for in studio for my in-person visitors. I do have digital gift certificates online, and I'm trying to get better about saying things like this, please, if you're interested in giving the gift of art to a friend and you want to support a small business, a local business, feel free to visit my website, and I have gift certificates there, and they can pick for themselves, and you don't have to do that. So yeah, there's my call to action. I'm trying to get better about the business side of this stuff. So one of my goals, and then I need to do the marketing thing. So all of this that I'm filming today, I need to edit videos, create reels, and do all of that. And yeah, my goal is to just get better at that every week. And hopefully I do this again next week, and I'm not afraid. And I get better at this every single time. And I appreciate anybody who's watching this and you haven't left yet. Thank you so much for listening to me drone on, and let me know what you think so far and how I can improve. Please be nice. And hopefully I'll see you again next week. Thank you.